Hi guys from the jury. My name's Adrian from Bickerton Masters. Thank you for listening to our presentation for Edithvale Lifesaving Club. Edithvale is one of the oldest lifesaving clubs in Australia, and this building replaces the one which they occupied for nearly 100 years. I'd like to begin with an acknowledgement to country. This project is placed on the land of the Bunurong people of the Southeastern Kulin Nation. We wish to acknowledge them as the traditional owners of the land and pay our respect to their leaders past, present and emerging. Edithvale is roughly 30 kilometres southeast of Melbourne. The site sits proud of the suburb, and if you're familiar with Bayside, you'll know that it's heavily built up for kilometres in both the north and south direction. There is no connection to the shore when travelling along the Peen Highway, Frankston Train Line or Station Street, and these infrastructure elements provide a barrier to the shore in their own right. A closer view of the site shows that the beach views are for those who can afford the luxury. The densification of the urban fabric is also responsible for limited parking, making pedestrians the prominent beachgoer. Accessing the beach through Beeson Reserve after getting off the train at Edithvale train station, over 25,000 people make the trip to this beach every summer, the majority of them on foot. The seawall, the sand dune, the esplanade, and the suburb define the four sides of the site. The environmental conditions and sand redistribution due to longshore drift and erosion mean that the site is forever changing. The existing building is a barrier. It has inappropriate tight access and is an obstacle for anyone trying to get down to the beach. Edithvale is one of the most narrow beaches on the bay and will be significantly impacted by sea level rise. The building is lifted 800 mil to contend with predicted sea level rise in the year 2100. Already, the existing seawall has water lapping at its base at king tide events. Accessibility of the beach is a primary focus of the design. 2 ramps from the concourse were provided to mediate the elevated ground floor and the current beach level, and they sit above the existing seawall. The ramps and concourse are an extension of the beach, coloured to mirror the sand and designed to allow the sand to creep up and entice people to make the walk down to the water. The beach is opened up to able-bodied persons as well as people requiring the use of mobility aids to get around. Given the predominant visitor to the beach makes the trek from the train station, it was important for us to sculpt the building to provide views to their destination and provide intuitive wayfinding for all people regardless of diversity. The first floor is set back and bridges over the ground floor, creating beach views to the side and through the middle of the building. The pedestrian access ramp on the north marks the beginning of the beach experience as it draws you down. Sand-coloured concrete indicates you've already arrived at the precinct, and the views to the beach let you pick out your spot in the sand before you get there. We understood that the building was not the destination, but rather it is a transient space to move from suburb to beach. It acts as a gateway to signify the change between urbanisation and open space. It was important for us to celebrate the club and the lifeguards on duty. The observation room is cantilevered over the concourse from a central column, giving the lifeguards prominent position in the building. The elevated first floor covers the concourse and allows people to meander to the shore. It provides shelter and the ability to enjoy the beach without facing the harsh sun. The kiosk is unique along the foreshore and provides a meeting place for all people. Located in the concourse, it lets you enjoy a coffee and a sandwich without getting your feet dirty. The column supporting the observation room with its tapering beams is a rock in a stream of water. The only column on the concourse, people move around it and interact with it without realizing. The observation room sits over the top of this column, cantilevering over the concourse, letting people know that there are lifeguards on duty, keeping them safe while they're spending the day on the beach. We drew inspiration between the esplanade and long seafaring vessels such as cruise ships, stationed at the stern and building at the bow. We used the geometry of these vessels to assist with generating the forms of the building. The bow cantilevers over the pedestrian space and provides elevated platform required to observe. Lineal balustrade is slightly splayed to reflect the forward tilt of the observation room glazing, linearity of the balustrade reflecting the hull of the ship. As we lifted the building, we needed to consider solar access to the concourse. The public interact with shadows, trying to stay as covered as possible when ordering from the kiosk. The kiosk owner is constantly reshuffling the outdoor furniture to have as much protection for his customers enjoying their meals as possible. If you're there long enough, you'll see the outdoor tables and chairs move further and further back into the concourse, almost hitting the staircase at the end. The afternoon sun, facing west, fully penetrates the full depth of the concourse, creating playful shadows for people to walk around. We're extremely proud of the urban sensitive water design for this project. The entire precinct, the reserve, the esplanade and the building all have their stormwater captured and filtered through a rain garden before it is then discharged out into the bay. It is also used as a tool to educate the public. Located adjacent to beach ramp, filtered objects and debris and plastic are visible for all as they make the walk down to the beach. This image taken last weekend shows the rain garden has fully flourished and the way that people can interact with it. It's noticing any items that don't belong. The building is positioned to be partially submerged in the sand. This was required to mediate the levels between the elevated esplanade and the beach. The sand dune is brought over the top of the change rooms on the south to reinforce the connection to the sand dune.
1 minute remaining.
We look to Fort Nepean to assist with integrating the buildings into the landscape. Partially submerged bunkers also have the same basic function of observing the water. Patrol room on the south of the building is a slotted window through a masonry element. The kiosk is treated in the same way, both flanking the building north and south at the top of the pedestrian ramps. Materiality is used to anchor the building to site, along with concrete and bluestone. Timber is used to help the building age in place. The intention is that each passing season, the building will have subtly changed as a reflection of the environment to its exposed. These images taken in March show the timber is graying, the concrete is showing signs of weathering, the dune is taking over, and the sand is creeping up the paths. The blue indicates the public space, the toilets and the kiosk. The orange show the club space, the change rooms and the toilets. The concourse runs through the center of the building. Column supporting the observation room sits in the middle, unapologetically making people move around it. Foyer access from the footpath level uses a stair to take you up to the social room. The blue is the external terrace area, orange is the internal club space. Observation room sits forward of the building and has views at all sides, including back towards the esplanade to see any emergency vehicles coming to offer assistance during a rescue. And just to close on a couple of interior shots of the project.